Getting transferred to New York. Ms. Parks welcomes her new associate, Mr. Mori, and answers some of his questions about living in New York.
Welcome, Mr. Mori. I'm Ms. Parks.
Pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you, too. How do you like New York?
Oh, it's great. I'm really excited to be living and working here.
Well, we're also glad that you're here. Do you have any questions so far?
Yes, I do actually. I have some questions about living here.
Okay. Shall we sit down for a few minutes and talk?
Yes, thank you. First of all, I took a taxi to my hotel. I wasn't sure how much to tip the driver.
How much did you give him?
The meter said $36 and I gave him $40.
Well, the general rule for tipping is about 15%. So in that case, you should have given him a couple dollars more.
Isn't 15% the amount to tip waiters too?
Yes, but if the service is especially good, then you should tip more. But try not to give less. Tips are the main income for waiters, taxi drivers, bellmen, and other people in the service industry.
What about when I use a credit card?
You can include the tip on the credit card too. Or you can leave a cash tip. Unlike in Japan, you usually pay the waiter at the table.
Okay. Another thing I'm not familiar with is the public transportation here.
Well, the subways are very convenient to use.
Where can I buy a map?
You can ask for one at any token booth. They're free.
What's a token booth?
That's where you buy tokens. You need them to enter the subway. Each one costs $1.50.
How far can I go for that price?
You can take the subways anywhere for that price.
That's cheap.
Yes, it's a pretty good deal. And if you buy 10 trips on a prepaid Metro card, you'll get one free trip.
That's great.
I prefer the subways to the buses.
Why?
The buses can be slow because of traffic. Plus, a bus is the same price, but you can only transfer once. If you take the bus, then remember to ask the driver for a transfer when you pay. The driver will give you a transfer slip, which you can use to get on one more bus.
Okay.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
Well, I still need to find an apartment. Could you recommend a good area?
Well, it depends on what you're looking for. In Manhattan, there are advantages and disadvantages.
What kind of advantages?
Well, you'd be closer to our office, and there's so much to do here. There are many restaurants and shops, plus there are all the galleries, theaters, and cultural events. And you don't need a car to get around.
Yes, Manhattan sounds very convenient. So what are the disadvantages?
The biggest disadvantage is space. It's very expensive to rent a large apartment. The education system is another problem. Many Japanese families with children choose to live in Westchester County.
My children are very young. The oldest still has 2 years before she starts school.
So schools aren't a concern yet.
No, they aren't.
Also, Manhattan is so crowded and noisy, but Westchester is more suburban. The neighborhoods have nice, large homes surrounded by trees, so it depends on what you prefer.
How's the transportation in Westchester?
There are commuter trains to Manhattan, but you need a car to get around up there.
I think the advantages of Manhattan outweigh the disadvantages. I don't have school-age children, my wife doesn't drive, and we both like to go out. Besides, we're already used to living in a small apartment.
Well, it sounds like you've made up your mind.
Yes, I think I have. So, how do I look for an apartment?
Well, I know a good real estate agent.
What kind of fee does a real estate agent charge?
They usually charge about 15% of 1 year's rent, but that's only if she finds a place for you.
And what are the other move-in costs?
Well, usually it's first and last month's rent, plus a refundable security deposit, which is equal to 1 month's rent.
So the total move-in cost is nearly 5 months' rent, right?
That's right. So, shall we call the agent and make an appointment?
Yes, thank you very much. You've been so helpful.
It's been my pleasure.